When we began, well, initially Wayne and some other people invited me up to take a look at a few sites, because when the area got World Heritage status, they were concerned that more tourists would be coming and no one was doing any research on the cultural heritage. So we started to look at possibilities of starting a project. And I started looking at maps and found that there were all sorts of sites in the Blue Mountains National Park and around Mount Yango and Yango National Park and various places, but Wollamai National Park was just a big blank. So I asked various rangers and archaeologists, and they said, oh, you won't find anything out there. It's just too rough and rugged. No one would be the right mind to live out that way. But then some of the elders, some of the Dharruk elders and Wiradjadjuri who I spoke to said, oh no, there's sites out there. And one of the things that we're told is, well, people know where some of the key Biami sites are and Darramulin sites, and like Mount Yango itself is a key Biami site. But everyone said, oh, somewhere out there in Wollamai is the Eagle ancestor site. But no one knew where it was anymore. And then, so then when we found, got to Eagle's Reach after the bushwalkers found it, and started taking people there and showing them photographs of the big eagle with the stenciled boomerang and the stenciled hafted axe. Everyone started to say, well, that must be it. And then a couple kilometers away, when we found the big engraved platform gallery rock where we're going to, and there's an engraved eagle there. And then people coming out here, seeing eagles and all the rest, now everyone's saying, hey, he must have found it, so our story has been shown to be correct. But probably, as you say, there were much more detailed stories.
If you read the story, you can tell you how to come down that gorge, come up it, and then find your way from there just by linking from one side to another side. And all those sites are linked through a story. And the stories change, and if we come to a new language group, which probably might have been more than, there probably was more than one language spoken here, and then their law stories stop and another one takes over, but your story then travel through with that. So your story still links to that, but it's a different law story. And all other stories inside that site are linked to all those things. You can travel to all those. From reading the story, you can travel one end of our country, go to another story, and then it goes like that. Because our stories, there's no start or finish to our story. There's only levels, and that levels, you go to 4 levels. So there's no break in it. Just the older you get, the more important the story is.
That same thinking of putting the landscape into totems for what they mean.
It's a way to remember the landscape.
Well, it's a way to remember the landscape too, because when we travel at night, especially for us at home when I'm travelling at night, I know that I know the landscapes and what they look like by their shapes and that. And if we have to split up at any stage, I can easily say, well, I'm over I'm going to that place, or I'm going to the Goanna, or I'm going over the Turtle Mountain, or I'm going to the Echidna Hill. You know, they know exactly where we're going to because of those shapes. You know, they're quite predominant. But that there, you can see him, You can see him standing like that, and the wings coming up. You know, I've been like every morning to see, and the shadow's exactly the same, which I've been standing there looking, you know, to the side there. So I do definitely think there's something in that valley.
Where I come from, there's like, I started with stories over here, and when you walk the stories to learn all that, you get to this place, and that's sort of where the answer is. But this journey could take you over about 130 miles and some longer, and you would walk that journey and you would find things that, you know, described in a story. Like in one story that we went in, there was water rolls, and you don't walk straight to it. You've got to go to certain places on these things and do ceremonies, and people come there to meet you, and you know, it's not a straight line to anything. It's a weavy line that comes round, and you've got to feel it all, and that journey and that discomfort and all that is a part of it. Just like when we walked from the top of the hill down to that cave, the relationship we had with one another, and we started talking, and now everyone was, you know, that was all building up a relationship and getting to know one another. What I see the cave at, when I said that cave at there, it's just like me going and talking to my grannies who taught me, and my grandfathers who taught me, and all these old people who taught me. Walking into the cave was just like that. And here it is written there. It's another little question mark for me to say, well, you get more to learn. You know, you still got more to learn. And every time you learn something, it only takes you on another track that you need to learn more.
When I was first walking up, and sitting there, I didn't just rush straight in, you know, and let the people know that I was there for good. I wasn't there, you know, no disrespect. And then when I went up in, just to sit there and in silence and to hear what they had to say, them paintings and the learnings that were in there. It was an emotional wave of up and down that you, like, it couldn't. 1 minute I was crying, next minute I'd be happy, next minute I'd be crying again, you know. And it was really full on for there the whole time, really, not just for one section the whole time, but it was a range of emotions I was running through. I was having visions of you know, sitting around, mobs sitting in there, and teaching happening, and the learnings that were going on in there, and that's when I was sad, because I was sad for the people that weren't there no more, and that was my saddest time there when I was thinking of that.
These people left something behind for us to learn from. Without even, there was all this work that you see was there just to teach you. And you just think how, you know, like how much respect that takes for somebody to do that. And don't know who's going to learn from it, but put something there for you to learn from. That blew me away. That really blew me away.
What struck me first when I came in here was the detail of the drawings.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just slapped up there and to represent particular totems or iconic things that we find in the art, but they're subtle and they're very, very technically drawn really well. Like the kangaroo, to me, it's got 3 dimensions. I mean, they're incredible. He's huge, this fellow. Yeah. It's fantastic text to have you here. It really is. It's been very important to get you here. Been waiting for a while. I knew I'd get you here, and it means a lot for the things that you've taught me over the years and the things we've shared.
See this figure here? It's got a hump, and then it almost looks like there's another head, or maybe there's another one behind. But notice this hump on the back, and then the head and the arm out like that. When we go over to Gallery Rock, well, I'll show you, there's about half a dozen engraved figures that are in profile like that, have a head like that, and they have a hump on the back.
Like a little billy bag type thing, could be.
So it shows a link between the two places, but there are a number of links, but it's quite a distinctive, rare image.
What's that?
It seems to be holding, could be a lyrebird tail.
Well, it's a big feather. The feather looks like a, you know, when you have an emu feather, but it's a big, long, continuous one that goes through the whole panel. It actually appears back over there, so it sort of threads its way through all these motifs.
Most people who explain things to me about what these first, like with the birds and whatnot, all, but the boomerangs and the axe always represent something, and they always represent the same thing. Lightning and thunder. Old people themselves always, when a bad storm comes, they always talk about the boomerang, the lightning is the boomerang, and the thunder is the axe hitting the ground. And then they sing a song and then spit into it to calm down and talk to it and all that.
Right.
So everywhere I went, this represents the same thing, never changed.
Yes.
And it's always with something that telling you that there's a, because the eagle or the kangaroo, I reckon, have to represent something back at here somewhere. The eagle could be something like you got a knob. That could be the land. It more be, I reckon, it more is a eagle look because it's either a gully, and what I reckon it'll show you in the landscape is that this has really got a lot of iron, and you see it in the night time in a storm. You will see this getting struck.
Right, okay.
With lightning.
Right.
So, and it's telling you not to be there, because you'll
get hit.
You get stuck.
Right. Because you know what you're drawing, then when you look back towards the site, that's what you actually see.
Yeah.
From where we are on the top of the rock, you actually see that little bump in the middle and then the ridges going off on the side.
And when you see it at night in the storm, you see him standing there, getting peppered. If I went like that, nobody would understand it as lightning. But if you put the thunder, something, you threw an axe into the ground, you make a chore on the thing, you make a thing, and you can see that boomerang down across the sky. It's going like that. And it's coming down, and it's taking all the different shapes.
It's the powers in the metaphor.
Yeah. And and everybody can understand it. There's no,
that's right.
No little things.
Because that restricts you, because with the metaphor you can build on the metaphor.
Yeah.
And that's how it works with the law and the stages of knowledge, doesn't it? That you get imagery and metaphors as a boy that you can build on through the stages of initiation. It's the same story sometimes, but different meaning.
Different meaning, So same story, but different meaning.
Yeah.
And different purposes and different things. And all these things around here just blow you away. You look at him this way, you think he's just like a cactus. You know, just a cowboy cactus. But his head there, his tail, his tail there, and his wings out there. It's like, you know, when the big eagle's taken off. Yeah. And when they stick their neck out.
That's right, that's it. They get the extra pull.
Yeah, and they got their neck right out. Yeah. It's just like he's taken off and they get his neck out.
Oh, right.
And he just, to go.
It's like when you're pushing a car, that first push it to let go. It's the same for him when he's first lifting off.
And they stick his neck right out.
Oh, right. That makes sense. Yeah. You can see that there's more of those figures going up. And then you've got the grid, and you've got a bird. It looks eagle-like, but it could be something else too. Can you see that there, with the grid over the top of it? Yeah.
That grid's like it's yellow.
It is, yellow cream.
Yeah. That thing there is like the way you say g'day in my country. When a new mob come into your country, all the men's got to stand up there and paint themselves black with fat and charcoal. And in the air, they got the little like umbrellas, and they're met by 3 old women, one painted white. And then they go through all the law, this old woman go through all the law with all the men and see if they're mourned the right way or they never broke any law. Yeah. And they judge them by their shields. So every time they hit the shield, and if it's a dull patch, then they never broke the law. If it's an eye patch, the eye pitch, they broke the law.
Right.
And then they have to sit down before the two communities and aggregate and come together and get over that.
Right.
And this old woman got all the walls.
Wow.
And it's all done with cheese painted white. One of the things they used to do, when old people used to dances, they used to make the headpieces of the bird, because it's all lined up together, and they got that thing. You talk about the eagle with his wing out on the ground.
Yeah, that's right, and they'd all have their headpieces on in the whole business.
Yeah, I got.
That's what they are then, they're eagle headpieces.
Yeah.
And they're actually saying, they've got their heads on.
Yeah, and same with
You've
that
got to
little.
dance, you've got to be, do you know
that's
what I mean?
what
You take the form of the animal.
Marion was saying to me before.
Yeah,
when
that's
the
right,
us were in here on our own.
Yeah.
We're taught who we are through dance, and that's who, and you've got to be able to do that correctly, and to be able to be that animal. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then through that, you learn who you are and who your processes are, and that. So, as well as through, we've done it times of like before hunting and things like that, as well. I think, my name being Mayan, and the attachment here is, it is certainly a great feeling, a great place to be at, and what I think is the Mayan ceremony being predicted on the wall behind us there. I definitely feel an attachment to this place. To be able to come to this place and to see what is here, and to know that these are the teachings that I've been taught as well, it's extremely important, and if we didn't have places like this to come to, then we'd be lost, it'd be, well, for me personally, it'd be a sense of being lost. This really is finding ourselves and finding who we are, and saying, this is the right way. You are on the right track.
Oh, that's the one.
Well, what I was saying is that when you see it from a ceremony thing, then you have to put all the pieces together. The river's down here. You got a gully that comes up there like that. You got another gully that comes in here, and you got another gully that comes in there, and another gully that goes around the back there. You got a gully in the middle, and I think all these represent something. So the grid is something on its own, but when you place it in the land, then you get places with something in the land. So the gullies become the grid, and the hills are part of it. And I think Aboriginal people would walk up and did the ceremony at one thing, and then come here and did the ceremonies across here. It would have took 3 or 4 days to get across to there, and then at the Porcupine they would have did another ceremony there, and then walked around the ridge to the painting, the cave, and did the ceremony there, did their learning there. I know about the ceremony. But when you put all this landscape into form, then all you have to do is put in eyes. And when you put in the eyes, then you got these eagles. And when you got the cave as the head of the eagle, and this is as the wing going up into it, then all you have to do is put on the body, which is one part of that body is a gully, and it comes down like that. And you got the eagle. The trick is to try to figure out the ceremony and figure out the way to this thing and the ceremony they do. Here the lines of the trees are coming down, all these different lines are coming down, and then you can get in there and you bring those lines down, and all you got to do is put eyes on them.
Yep.
And you get your 3 eagle logs at the back.
There, right, like that.
Yeah.
I can see them there, clear as.
3 eagle logs head, and you got this big bloke. You get this big bloke with his going the other way, and you got the big one there with the wing. So he's telling you where the cave is, and the cave is the head. And the more important part is the grids, where they do the ceremony. That is just the last part of that teaching.
But also all the walking around is giving you the direct experience with the landscape, so that you'll remember it when you come back.
The journey's more important.
Yeah, and that's where you learn your respect for the land, you learn the respect for the people. The people taking you put a lot of trust in them.
Yeah.
All that sort of respect come out. And when you see that, and that, if you would have seen that painted, nice fresh paint on it, a young person, you'll just knock your head off.
Oh, yeah. So how does the fire stick cave fit into the group?
Some sort of a test for uninitiated man to come with an initiated man, an old person. The fire stick probably the last feed they would add.
The fire stick is left there for people to come back and use, and probably stashed in here in a dry shelter like this, and it would have had the base as well. And if you were out in the rain and your fire went out, that you knew that you could come back here and get that fire stick and get a fire going. It's actually got burnt material on the end of it. It's not in great shape, but it's still holding it together. You can see the borer that's got into it. The wooden artefacts don't survive in the archaeological record, particularly here in the mountains because of our high acid soils. You won't find them in archaeological deposits generally. Very rarely are they found in situ. We possibly could say that it was even post-contact period.
You'd get grub dust and also light bits of litter, and fern was also good, the moss, and put there and cause the friction. But first of all, we'd use the dustings from the grub in there so that we get a very hot powder, and also what comes off the end of the samphoria. And it's not a process that happens extremely quickly, but it's and you can see that process happening there now. But it's definitely a process that will happen for sure. And we'd go, and you can actually feel the heat that's even building up.
With the back and the hand. No, that's emu.
That's the bird.
Yeah.
Emu. The one with the bump on the
back.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 of them in here.
There's some around here.
This is it.
Yeah.
Here's the bump on the back.
Yeah.
Right there. Coming up. And there's the head. And an arm.
Yeah.
And then down and a leg.
Yeah. That's another leg, and there's a bum there.
Yeah. There's the bump again.
Yeah.
And the top half is just like that drawing at Eagle's Reach, where there's the bump on the back and the arm up like that and the head, where there's the 2. Yeah. There are some other things that connect through as well. Bit of a circle here.
Yeah.
And it connects up with the line. No, we'll have to look at it later.
Yeah. Oh, better go and have lunch and tea.
This is a fragment of a basalt axe head. Very hard, much harder than the sandstone. And we found it on the platform. And we're wondering if maybe this was used to make some of the engravings. They would have needed a very hard, sharp stone to peck out all of these individual peck marks. And it may well have broken in the process and then was abandoned right here on site.
We actually from home have the same basalt as well as used for for the axes, and you can see the wear that has been.
It's a lot of wear.
Yeah, on that piece.
At one time it was probably ground nice and smooth.
Most certainly.
And of course there are some grooves down there that resulted from axe grinding.
Being able to understand how that was made, and the animals and the plants, and even down to the air and the water, what it does to those things to make them like that. Without understanding those, you wouldn't be able to go and find those things. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to go down into the creek where it's cut down, and roll those into those stones, and I know that's there. And that's just from understanding my nature and understanding the backgrounds and having the feeling for that. There's so many layers to these stories. There's not, and
as you get older, you learn more.
More, yeah. You've just taken the next part out, and there's parts to these stories that I'm not ready for yet, and those aren't for me to know of yet. There is a time for you to learn those things.
Yeah, so you have to wait for that time.
You have to wait for that time, the right time, and it'll let you, Mother Nature will let you, and all the energies that are around us, and the spirit, they will guide you to that. Well, they've guided me. Even if we could just tap into what Mother Nature's trying to tell us as humans, that we're hurting her, and these things, and the signs that she's giving us all the way along, that's a story in itself. And if we, if we could just stop and shut your eyes and shut your mouth, and if we could just open up our ears and open up our hearts and try and hear what she's trying to say to us, because she's trying to tell us a big story worldwide, amongst all cultures, about what we are doing here and what man is doing to her. My heart bleeds for some of the ideologies that these people have that are powerful in the world and making decisions for the rest of us. I feel really sad for them.
What's missing is what I call the chains of connection.
Yeah.
And in a lot of the stories that I've learned from Aboriginal elders right across the country, people talk about how all these different things are related to each other, and how different parts of the landscape are related to each other through dreaming tracks, through song lines, through the travels of ancestral beings, through people in recent times and today coming together for ceremony. And the chains of connection between the food that we eat and where it's from, the land it's from, and the whole process as it comes to us.
I believe there's got to be a time when we've got to all sit down around that circle and talk about what we're doing to Mother Nature. Maybe something might come of this. Maybe, and we're not here so we can, so our names are written in history.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or to make money.
Or to make a wallan, that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
But maybe what we're doing here, all of us as humans, might be the little ones that kicked that stone off the cliff that made the avalanche.
Wouldn't that be nice?
to change everyone. Because serious, it ain't until someone kicks that stone, a big avalanche coming down that area, and goes, oh, Crux, we've got to do something. It's not about me. It's about where we are, what we're breathing, and what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? And our mother. And it's
about the future.
And that's exactly what it is. It's about respect, and we always say, it's about respecting the past, the present, and what's going to be in the future. And the brother, even though black, white, Indigenous, non-Indigenous, Koori or Murray, Chinese or Afghan, we start to learn and there's a saying that we say, brother, I don't want you to walk in front of me, I don't want you to walk behind me, I want to walk beside you, and maybe we might have to stand back to back to defend each other. Without that, our cultures all over the world, they're going to be lost because we don't have nothing to show. I won't be able to go and pass on that story about the stone and about the axe and about the church.
Traditional farming, everything had a place. Everything had a place. You had place for people, you had place for animals, you had place for the land, you had place for plants, you had place for insects, you had place for all those things. And those things all fitted in. And we were only there to play a part that kept a balance in all those stuff. With our ceremonies, with our songs, with our dance, and all that. And that's how we used to play a part. As, our initiation to show respect to all the things that give to us. All those things. I just played a part, and that's all we did. That's all we just played a part. You wasn't better than the ant, we wasn't better than a piece of grass, we wasn't better than a leaf, or a tree, or the water. When you take people from, traditional people from the bush, then the people suffer, also the bush suffer, because there's no rituals, none of those things carry on. It's really important to look at all the things for life. And still get it carried away with one thing. You've got to make sure you have a connection with all of it.
It's a beautiful way to live life. Beautiful way to live life, eh?
Oh, that's so good.